We're back coast to coast in the Dark Match Studios. If you're listening to this, I'm in a co-working space again, but I have a TV behind me with the Dark Match logo, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah, and you're in LA, so you can call it a studio as opposed to, you're not in some random basement in Indianapolis. So, but yeah, we are coming off the most exhausting weekend in professional wrestling. WrestleMania, multiverse of matches, Supercard of Honor, MLW had a show. If you're a promotion in wrestling outside of AEW, you had a show this weekend, and there's a decent chance that we paid for your pay-per-view. So there's too much to cover without this thing running 6.5 hours like a day of WrestleMania.
Yeah, we just split it into 2 nights.
So let's just hit this the easy way. Give me your 3 highs from WrestleMania weekend.
Man, so to the first one, I'm just going to go in chronological order. I am going to go with Joe and Samoa Joe in Ring of Honor, and then subsequently appearing on Dynamite. I'm going to group those 2 together. But, honestly, I'd forgotten long enough that he was on the table for potentially, being someone cool. And there had been rumors beforehand that there was going to be something big at the end of the Supercard. So I was kind of excited about that. But I just didn't peg Samoa Joe being one of them. Honestly, would have been less surprised if Samoa Joe somehow showed back up as a commentator, like on NXT or something, more than actually being an active wrestler again. But he's in the Owen Hart tournament. He qualified for the tournament. So it'd be interesting to see kind of where they go from there. And then next on, we'll just basically do one per night. So there's no way I'm not going to pick Stone Cold Steve Austin showing up at the end of WrestleMania and having what potentially might be his retirement match, and it being damn good and entertaining. And, Kevin Owens, man, he really just rose to the occasion. And then, it's hard to say the 3 things because there was particularly an excellent match on that night that I almost feel like I'm giving it disservice, but I'm here because I love Stone Cold. Really, that's why I'm here. So I can't not get that. On top of that, I was at El Segundo Brewing to watch it, because they have that, which they had very prominently pictured, the Broken Skull American Lager that they just released in the foreground of a lot of shots. So, it was a raucous crowd to be with because everyone was really excited about. And then for Sunday, man, I mean, Knox again. Those two Quebecois boys really just killed it that weekend with the Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn thing. Again, there was better quality of wrestling by far. And, but seeing that match, seeing Wee Man, and the way that Sami took and sold that body slam, it was one for the ages. He made that look convincing, even though there's no way in any universe that body slam should be convincing. So yeah, those are my top 3. Again, there was amazing wrestling that happened on any of those 3 nights that I just mentioned. But for what made what made me feel stupendous was those 3 moments.
Yeah, I'm glad you covered Knoxville because it's been thrown around a lot lately, sort of as a pun, but I cannot say that I wasn't sports entertained.
Yeah.
That may have been the most fun thing to watch all weekend.
Yeah.
And they really went for it. When the giant hand came out of nowhere and slapped the shit out of Sammy, that may have been the moment of Sunday WrestleMania for me.
And Mark Henry capitalizing on that tweet about being him and Mae Young's son.
Yeah.
So.
If we're lumping things together, My number one is going to be, cumulative, including Dynamite, the 80 stars worth of matches that FTR put on in the course of 6 days. The Briscoes FTR match was, I don't often agree with things that Cornette says, but I got to agree with him. That may have been the best tag match in the last 30 years. I can't recall one that was better that didn't involve a gimmick. Because New Day and Usos in Hell in a Cell might be pretty damn close, but it still needed the cell to pull it off.
Right.
My number two's got to be just Cody's entrance. Well, actually, let's just call it everything about Cody at WrestleMania. From having the same music, getting the Cody Vader, getting the American Nightmare Homelander walk down the ramp. And the sheer audacity of WWE. Seth Rollins hits the ring. You get like 2 full minutes where nobody comes out, and the crowd is chanting Cody. 77,000 fucking people are chanting Cody's name at the top of their lungs. Cody hits the ring, and the commentary team has the audacity to say, "No one could have seen this coming." Well, clearly 77,000 people that were in the building with you saw this coming.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer told us 2 months ago this was coming. There are no secrets anymore. Just accept it. So yeah, that was my number two. Just the entire package of Cody between Saturday and Monday Night Raw. There's a whole bunch of things happened. As much as I love Stone Cold, I think my number three's still got to be Knoxville.
Okay. Yeah.
God, that match was so fun.
Yeah.
Like Pat McAfee went out there and tore it down. I got to give all the credit in the world to Pat McAfee. When he just flat foot leaped to the top rope to hit that superplex, that was just damn impressive.
Right.
I hate that they shit on it by doing whatever the hell that Pat McAfee, Vince McMahon clusterfuck of a follow-up was.
-2 stars from Meltzer.
where Pat McAfee lost because Vince poorly punted a football into his chest. I mean, I just watched him eat the A down from Austin Theory and kick out. But yeah, him getting punted into. Sure. Okay. But yeah, it's hard. It really is. It's a toss up for. Actually, I'm gonna boot Knoxville. My number three is Triple H opening Sunday, leaving the boots in the ring. I'm not ashamed to say that I was a little weepy eyed watching the entrance, seeing him set the boots down, and then hug his kids at ringside. Is a beautiful moment, and I'm glad they let him have that.
And unlike Undertaker, we know there's no way that Triple H is going to go back on that. So,
yeah, this isn't the doctors told me that I can't, and in 7 years I will suddenly reemerge.
Yeah.
In the title hunt. This is my heart will explode if I try to run the ropes again. So yeah, there's not really a stint that can fix that.
Yeah.
All right, we hit the 3 highs. Give me the 3 lows, because they were numerous, and really the 3 worst parts of the weekend can't be that hard to pick out.
So, the worst ones. So one of the things I was going to say is one of the worst things, but it's almost kind of the best because it gave me a lot of enjoyment, is that the worst stunner of all time. But then seeing just knowing how much I laughed about it, and then also seeing Mick Foley's reaction video that they did, where I don't think I've ever seen a man laugh that hard at taking it. It's it almost could be in the best category. I'm not entirely sure. So I'll say, we're talking about production. We'll say, man, way too many video packages, like replaying the same video package over and over again. No backstage segments, which apparently they had a bunch of legends there just for whatever reason. There was an opportunity there instead of they just played a video package over and over again. I get that they do play those because we've taken our friend Steven Woodley, gonna just call out his last name and everything so you can kind of look him up.
Let me pull up his address right quick. We've taken him before, and I know for non-wrestling fans, my wife is stuff as well. They're very helpful for those people in attendance to enjoy it. But man, they could have just done so much more, especially because they just replayed several of them. Yeah. The video package for Brock Roman, if it played once over the weekend, it played 315 times. At least twice both nights of the kickoff show. It played 2 or 3 times throughout Saturday, to the point where they had to bump a match because they ate up so much time.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little weird too. The video packages during Stand and Deliver were just those random vignettes that they do for wrestlers. They didn't really show a whole lot of the match builds.
That is true.
Probably because half of them didn't really have a whole lot of build anyway. But like anybody that watched Stand and Deliver, I mean, because it was a commitment to get through all of this stuff this weekend. But I feel like NXT is still in that point where anybody that watched Stand and Deliver, they weren't just a casual fan. They knew who the hell Nikita Lyons was. They didn't need the vignettes, and it seemed weirdly disjointed the way they were doing that on Stand and Deliver, and they still played the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns package during Stand and Deliver too. Yeah. So it was they wasted a lot of time on video packages. While if productions are going to be our number one, I also need to know what the fuck was with the production on Multiverse of Matches. There were like 4 different promotions represented, and you couldn't get a fucking HD camera in there. Somebody was filming that with a Sony Handycam, or they may have had my laptop webcam just spun the other way. Everything was blurry. I would like to see
that, like someone carrying it around.
Like everything was blurry. There couldn't have been more than 200 people in there. Impact they have seen substantial growth in the last couple of years. I mean, just from Kenny Omega coming over. I'd like to know where the hell the production value was on this, considering this is, they've got their own major pay-per-views, just like AEW does a couple of times a year. But I mean, this was a big deal. This was the Impact flag in the ground. We are the purveyors of the Forbidden Door, and that it just felt like they half-assed it.
Yeah, speaking of NXT too, I'll say the schedule of Stand and Deliver, doing it like during the day in front of WrestleMania. Not a fan of that, because it's just like, yeah, it's just bad, and it's it was otherwise a good show, but honestly, like with so much WrestleMania without any kind of buffer there, I remember Ring of Honor. I don't even remember watching NXT, which now I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, they had some pretty great entrances. They had some good matches on the show, but for me, starting at 10 a.m. Might have been 9. It's just like, I don't want to watch wrestling in the morning unless it's like I'm catching up because I'm watching something from the previous night. But like, if it's like live at 9 a.m., it's just weird, which I know that's also like New Japan sometimes, but so.
Yeah. I equate it to, it's like when I wake up, and the only time I do it is when they do the English Open at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
And there's like a 6-hour time difference, so I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch them tee off. Yeah. But I don't know. I I still feel like they put way too much into the Hall of Fame ceremony, considering it's something that could be on a different night. But they sort of pigeonhole themselves with the 2-night WrestleMania, because you've still got SmackDown on Friday and Raw on Monday. Where the hell? I mean,
Thursday's the only way you can put it, I think, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's not really anything you can do on Wednesday. I was going to say just start the week on Tuesday and do your damn NXT pay-per-view on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
You have to work out some kind of deal where, USA gets a pay-per-view, but I don't think they'd have a problem with it.
Right.
Peacock might. But, that was, I hated that whole afternoon thing. I will give them one presentation prop. That clear barricade was amazing. I love it. It made it feel like the crowd was actually a part of things. Whereas, the 4 foot tall, 8-inch deep padded wall sort of separates it. I really liked the clear plexiglass where you could see the crowd in their entirety. It felt like it added something for me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Man, I just had a thought about what else and then, I would say there are some matches that were on the card. I'm just going to lump them together that we knew were going to be bad ahead of time. And then they delivered on being bad. Omos and Lashley, bad. Unfortunately, that New Day, Ridge Holland, Sheamus match, which we knew was going to be short, which they just shuffled around as well. Not good. Not that I don't think they can give you a good match. They just had an impossible position. And there are just a handful of other ones that, honestly, at this point, I've kind of forgotten about. It's unfortunate what happened to Rick Boogs. I hope he recovers and well. I didn't miss it live. I did miss it live, and I was definitely not motivated to go back and watch it. So
it was gnarly.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the knee pad on, you could see things shift. It was bad. So wishing him a speedy recovery. As much as I love Nakamura, now that I've seen him with Rick Boogs, I need Rick Boogs to be a part of that. The entrance won't be the same.
Yeah.
And not being able to watch Pat McAfee jump up on the desk and dance with Rick Boogs is going to take a lot out of SmackDown for me. I got a 2 and 3 for me are probably how bad that Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair match was.
That's an example. I just completely blacked out on my memory because it's bad.
We're gonna say number 2 was the match itself, and number 3 was Ric Flair's tweet about how great a women's match it was. This feud sucked from start to finish. This feud sucked. She didn't need to win the Royal Rumble to get to this, so it started off behind the 8 ball. Charlotte Flair had to do all the heavy lifting just to make it moderately tolerable. Because, as I've said before, Ronda Rousey is not – there's no charisma there.
Yeah.
She looks terrified when she's on camera and expected to talk. Charlotte did so much heavy lifting, and then this match comes around, and you're like, okay, it's been 4 years since Ronda's debut in New Orleans. As of today, 4 years since Ronda debuted. Maybe she learned how to do more wrestling stuff, but no, it was just spamming arm drags and then them uncomfortably fidgeting their way out of 1,000 different submission attempts before Charlotte eventually got the win that we all kind of expected her to get anyway. Because Rousey being a celebrity, they tend to disappear when WrestleMania is over.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to give props to Logan Paul because he's still doing interviews about being part of WrestleMania. So at least he's making an effort. But yeah, that match was as bad as the feud itself. And Rousey can be as pissed as she wants to that it didn't headline the evening. But if they had gone on after Stone Cold Steve Austin, that building would have been empty by the time that clusterfuck of a match was over.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's perfectly said. I don't know where. I don't know. It's interesting too, and I was thinking kind of this morning that WWE, this has been a good WrestleMania for them overall. I think they definitely have some good momentum coming off of this. Are we going to be back to how they were like a month or so ago, like in a couple weeks, or are they actually going to like use this?
No, 100% back to where they were, because we saw on Monday Night Raw, Bobby Lashley got a win over Omos, and then MVP decided to turn on Bobby Lashley and join Omos.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah. Bobby Lashley was already the face in that match. We didn't need anything else to help that turn. If you need MVP to stay a heel, let him show up later. But that was just, I don't know. Or he could have come out and cost Bobby Lashley the match at WrestleMania, because we know this match is just going to happen 3 more times.
The other
on every pay-per-view between now and SummerSlam. So that sort of sent me back, like right back to where we were 3 weeks ago. Even coming off on the whole, I felt like WrestleMania, even 2 nights and 12 total hours of commitment. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
There was some flops. The Rick Boogs injury. I really thought it was questionable to not let the New Day win their Big E tribute match after Ridge Holland almost killed him. But WWE's going to WWE. Yeah. So, I mean, there was some questionable shit. But on the whole, this was one of the better WrestleManias they've done since the last time they were in Dallas.
Right.
So I was hoping the momentum would carry. Cody kicked off with a great promo, and then you got the MVP weird thing. But you got bootleg House of Black.
Hold on, though. The Cody thing, though, amazing entrance at WrestleMania, perfect Cody Vader. But the fact that thing is ground level and not an actual ramp anymore, then they bring out this whole Jack in the Box thing for him to rise out of and then walk down a ramp. It's real dumb. They got to figure something out there. And especially when it kind of a pause for a second, then they cut to the shot where you see his head poking out the bottom. It's just real dumb.
What I don't get either, it wasn't really an elevator in AEW, was it? It was just that thing in the back rose up and he was standing behind it.
No, it was a ramp for the most part.
So he kind of came out of the floor too.
I think it was a combination of 2 things. It was rising, that chandelier, whatever it is, rose, and he came up. So he may not have been completely 6 feet under, but he at least rose more significantly. Yeah,
there's a way they can have something rise from in front of him.
Yeah,
rather than this weird. I mean, he was a stripper popping out of a birthday cake to open Monday Night Raw. It was real. We'll go with questionable.
Yeah,
and how because they had to have test run the elevator because they weren't going to put him on to open the show and have the elevator not work.
Yeah.
How nobody in that test run production meeting was like, all right, guys, we need to rethink this. I don't know. That was something special.
Yeah. So I'm very interested to see in what they're going to do in future shows, if that's going to adjust or if they're going to do anything, or if they're going to make some kind of sound effects to go with it, like they did with Aleister Black and Ricochet. I don't know. Yeah, or even if it's just elevator, as it rises, who knows? But it's what I'm most excited to see how they handle the Cody thing. I think he'll face Roman and then he'll kind of disappear into the middle of the card. Maybe he'll eventually face who ended up with the weekend with Roman has both championships.
Yeah, I honestly, it's fine. You bring him in, let him face Roman. He's not going to get that belt from Roman right now, unless Roman's like super hurt and needs surgery.
Yeah.
It's okay for me if he loses and, this requires him to stay on SmackDown. But if Cody carries the Intercontinental belt for a while, I'm okay with that. Do an open challenge with Cody and the Intercontinental belt. We'd get a Cody Ricochet match, which is already better than Ricochet defending in handicap matches against the Lotharios. We're not going to get started on them because this podcast will turn into that 6.5 hour thing. But there's, we are in a renaissance of just tag team wrestling greatness right now. I mean, the Hardys are back together. The Young Bucks are still killing it. FTR may legitimately be on their way to cementing themselves as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. The Briscoes are out there. The landscape of tag team wrestling is just astoundingly good right now. And then there's what WWE puts on TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you guys dropping the ball this hard? You've got the fucking War Raiders. Like you have War Machine. I'm not a huge fan of Angelo Dawkins, but you've got the Street Profits. Riddle and Orton are working great together. You have so much talent in your tag division. Like, I'm so lost with the tag teams on SmackDown. So lost.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Oh
man, with AEW, man, I was a little like coming off of WrestleMania. I'm like a little bit. It's just like, like on one level they're not in the same league. Like putting on the show like that isn't that. But then I have to remember that Tony Khan's repeatedly said they're not trying to like become WWE or destroy WWE. This is not like the Monday Night Wars in that sense. And I just have to remember that. So it's just hard to think. Someone made an analogy on the internet that it's like that AEW in some ways wants to be Pepsi to like WWE's Coke. Coke is by far more successful than Pepsi, and I hate comparing AEW being Pepsi because I hate Pepsi. It sucks. But
it feels like far too CM Punk referenced comparison too. So,
but I mean, as far as like company size and stuff like that, I mean, AEW would be huge to be a Pepsi basically. So, in that regards, but
let's shoot for Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
It's still Pepsi, but Mountain Dew carries a whole lot more clout than Pepsi itself. Plus, it's supposed to be the much more fun one.
Yeah.
So that analogy makes a shitload of sense. And then nobody has to act like Pepsi's okay just to make that analogy work. I will say this: Diet Pepsi is not intolerable.
Yeah.
Just Pepsi itself is just a garbage drink, and I don't know why it still exists.
If you're going to want to like soft drink wrestling analogies, is Dr. Pepper the forbidden door because it's like always you can find it in places where you can find both Coke and Pepsi?
Yeah, we'll go with that. So it'll be like Impact is Dr. Pepper, and then. Maybe we'll say that I was going to say Ring of Honor now could be the PIB, but PIB is a Coke product. Yeah. So I don't really, we'll call Ring of Honor Code Red. There we go. We got Mountain Dew as AEW and then Code Red is Ring of Honor. Cause I got a feeling that if they play their cards right, Ring of Honor could become the A show for them, like NXT did WWE a couple of years ago. Then again, I mean, 205 Live was their A show too. NXT and 205 Live were like up here, and then Raw and SmackDown were like gutter shows.
Well,
it was like that was Mountain Dew and Code Red, and then like Cheerwine.
Oh man.
God, I could probably sit here and do this soft drink thing all day. Man, I'm having a lot of fun with this.
Next season of the Dark Match, all we do is just compare things to soft drinks. We stop with the wrestling, just things compared to soft drinks.
Season 4, I'll get into energy drinks. Then we'll really get crazy.
All right. Well, any other things that kind of bright spots from the weekend that you wanted to mention? I mean, Pat McAfee, I think, also did a spectacular job, like both on commentary and otherwise. Like that Knoxville match, they were having a good old time.
Yeah. I want to point out, too, that Pat McAfee, in addition to being, and I know Excalibur's amazing and, commentator of the year, and he deserved it and everything. Pat McAfee has made WWE's program more fun again. Mm-hmm. And not only that, he has made Michael Cole so much more enjoyable. Michael Cole seems to truly enjoy sitting next to him every week. It felt like he was going through the motions like everybody else for years there. And now he's even reinvigorated. And that's been an amazing thing to see. I know we talked last week about, cause you're not a huge Brock Lesnar fan, but I've really enjoyed seeing him, reinvested and revitalized and rejuvenated. And, I've enjoyed seeing the same thing out of Michael Cole, and it's entirely due to how much energy Pat McAfee brings to things.
Oh, other honorable mention, Austin Theory's ridiculous sell of the stunner. He got some air on that. He's trying to outdo The Rock on that one.
Austin Theory is something truly special. I don't know how much legs are left on this Vince McMahon's protege thing, but he is something truly special. And in a couple of years, he will be WWE champion at some point during his run. I have zero doubt about it, and I just hope that they don't accidentally bury him under the weight of this floundering Vince McMahon angle that they're running.
Well, I think with the end of WrestleMania and all that, I think this is actually going to end up our season. And we're going to take about a month-ish off. We're going to come back before Double or Nothing, and we've got some new plans and new stuff that's going to be in the works that we're hoping you'll like. And then if you have any ideas on what you'd like to see on the show, hear or see, depending on how you consume this, please let us know. But go ahead and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. So when we come back, you won't be out of the loop.
Yeah. And the baby is starting to sleep more. So I promise I'm not going to look so like worn out when we get back for season 4. Big things though. I think we're going to lean pretty heavy into, wrestling video games. I still think it'll be really fun to get into movie reviews for these WWE films, but some of those that wrestlers are doing outside of WWE films, Money Plane in particular was just a gem of cinema.
Yeah.
When you put Edge on a plane with Kelsey Grammer, you're going to get just Steven Seagal level straight to Redbox quality. That's not saying Edge is a bad actor. I liked him on Vikings. He was good. That very brief stint on The Flash. Or no, that was Cody Rhodes. What the hell else was Edge on? He was on something I watched, but I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to dig back into some old school shit. So we're going to bring you some new stuff in season 4. And we are also going to say a fond farewell to our love of season 3, Moose. He's not dead or retiring or anything. But in season 4, with the news that LA Knight is probably just going to become a manager, I'm dedicating season 4 to Eli Drake. I'm not even LA Knighting it. We're going to go back to the greatness and the push that Eli Drake got with Impact Wrestling, and hopefully the push that he will get again someday, because the dude is money. But Moose, thank you for season 3. It has been fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of Photoshop work we can get in season 4 with some oiled up LA Knight, Eli Drake images. Stick with us for season 4. Like, subscribe, share. so that you're ready when season 4 launches. And we will see you right before Double or Nothing.
All right.